and welcome to the Artist Behind the Music Canadian series. Today we have Nicole Farmer joining us from Okotoks. Welcome to the show, Nicole.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you bet. I'm excited to chat with you and hear a little bit more about your music and a little bit more about just who you are as a human. So let's kind of just dive into your music and how you got started and what inspires you and kind of what took you on the path to making music for life.
Alrighty, well, the way I kind of first got into music when I was young, my brother started taking piano lessons, and that got me interested in piano. So I kind of started piano probably when I was like 7 or 8 or something, and from there I started wanting to sing and take singing lessons probably a couple of years later, and then yeah, just kind of took off from there. um, yeah.
It's not often that there's sibling inspiration. I find. Did your brother teach you how to play, or did you take your own lesson?
I took lessons, yeah,
Yeah.
from our neighbor.
How convenient.
hmm
So convenient. And did you enjoy taking lessons as a kid? Because I remember for me, I would go to actually I was kind of a neighbor, it was like around the corner for piano lessons, and I hated piano lessons. Like go and I was like, this is so boring. Like it was so drab and dry, and I just really didn't like piano lessons.
Yeah,
Now I play piano and I love piano. I just didn't like how it was taught.
yeah, no, that's exactly how it was for me too. When I was young, like first taking piano lessons, I would like it was so frustrating. I didn't want to do it. Like I wanted to learn how to play piano, but I didn't want to put the effort in, I guess. It
Yeah.
felt hard.
What do you think would have made it more fun for you as a kid learning piano?
Um, I don't know. Like it was just kind of how much practice it took, I think was just as a kid that was so hard to sit through. But I mean, I know that practice makes perfect. So
I often ask myself that as an adult, like, how is learning this new thing going to be fun? How can it
mhm.
be fun? That's fun is a big element, I think, in my life. I like things to be
Yeah,
cool, right?
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about 2020 and how the year kind of panned out for you. If you had to make any pivots or shifts or changes or cancel anything or kind of what you experienced. It's been a weird year for everybody in a different light and a different way. So I just always find it interesting to hear different people's stories on how they navigated through the crazy 2020.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been crazy. Like I work full time in an office setting, and I was laid off kind of mid-March, I guess. And so there was a couple months where I was just at home, and that was nice because it actually gave me more time to spend time on music and spend time with my pets. And yeah, so that was it kind of was nice at first. And then I went back to work full time in June, and it's been different. My whole kind of routine has changed because
Mm.
just the difference in getting there, first of all, and spending a few days a week at home for work and trying to kind of make that work. But
Yeah, it's just a completely different way of living, I guess. Just
mhm,
habits and changes and just discovering a new normal that works for you in the best way, right?
yeah, yeah, and I've been trying to make more out of my music career. Of course, this all happens. So it's been tough, but it's been okay. I've got a lot of online little things to do, so that's been nice.
Which is great, right? That we have the opportunity to be online and virtual to, do shows in different ways and co-write with different people and have meetings in different ways. And um, it's just really kind of shifted the music industry. I mean, my heart is out to every single person that works on any level of the music industry, whether you're an artist or a booking agent or a manager or, whatever your role is in the industry. I just think it's just really affected this industry huge. I mean,
Yeah.
all industries the whole entire world. I'm not diminishing any other industry, but this one's a big one because it affects a lot of different people, and it's a connection thing too, right? People go to concerts to feel good and alive. Do you remember your favorite concert and why it was your favorite concert? How it made you feel?
Um, well, the first one was probably when I went to see the Backstreet Boys.
So me too.
Yeah. And that, yeah, it was just like at the time being a young kid and getting to see them, it was super exciting. And I think that also definitely seeing live shows and people that you already are a fan of, seeing them play live, that also has made me feel a lot more inspired to be a performer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's something just about watching people. The Backstreet Boys,
Mhm.
that was one of my first concerts too. I remember.
Yeah.
Thinking, whoa, they get really sweaty up there,
Yeah.
dancing and singing and all those wonderful things. Who were some of your biggest influences as an artist?
um, I listen to kind of a bunch of different genres, but I'd say for my overall sound, probably Regina Spektor has been a big influence. Um, Sarah Bareilles. I don't
Yes,
know if I'm saying that right.
I know. I always get actually funny on her last name. I say it really quickly, just so Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean,
Yeah. And then a lot of kind of older artists like Elvis Presley, um, the Beach Boys, they've kind of inspired me too.
awesome. Yeah,
Mhm.
those are some great ones. I do, just going back to Sarah Bareilles for a second. Have you seen her show Little Voice?
No, I haven't.
Everybody needs to go watch this show. It's so good. It's kind of cheesy, but it's so good, especially if you like music and if you're looking for some inspiration. It's on
Mhm.
Apple TV and it's awesome.
Oh, cool. I'll have to check that out.
Get Apple TV, just watch the show.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite shows that you're into watching?
Um,
Any highlights, recommendations for the world?
well, I really, probably my favorite show is Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's a
Oh,
comedy.
that is funny. That for a long time kind of was like our bedtime show.
Oh yeah,
Not at nighttime.
yeah. No, it's kind of raunchy, but it's really funny. um, Lately, I've been watching a lot of BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural. Yeah,
Where,
that's
which channel
been.
is that on?
I'm watching it on Prime, and it's also on YouTube.
Okay.
Hmm.
I always love. Now I have a question. Can you binge watch comedy as good as you can binge watch a drama, or do you feel like binge watching is more for? Or what kind of shows do you like to binge watch? I won't put words in your mouth.
Well, Stranger Things is probably one that one was like I binged that one very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's on my list of things to watch.
Oh yeah. But comedy, yeah, I would say I'd probably go through those just as quickly.
You can. It's so
Yeah.
funny for me when I'm watching comedy. I can just watch a couple. Like I can't. I don't get as fulfilled binge watching a comedy show as I do
Oh yeah.
binge watching a drama with like suspense and like what's
Yeah.
gonna happen. There's just something about just going through the shows. Like, do you remember when a show would come out and you had to wait a week to find out like part two of the show? Like,
Yeah,
I always remember
exactly.
Friends episodes came out and it was like by the time you got to, well, they do like part one of a like kind of like a small series in the season, and
Mhm.
then like you had to wait a whole week and it was gonna, and now we can just like click 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 fast forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, and even when what was it? Walking Dead, when it was coming out, that was really, it was hard to wait.
Yeah, that was a binge worthy show as well. That one did well. I can't even believe it was out for 10 years.
Oh
Straight
wow.
into a pop culture episode. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
that's today's theme is pop culture.
I
Favorite actor or actress?
don't know, that's a hard one. I don't know if I really do. I mean, there's definitely, as a kid, I always liked Drew Barrymore, but I've kind of gone away from that a bit.
Have you seen her new talk show?
I haven't really watched it, no.
I haven't either. So
Yeah.
here we go. We're adding things to the list of things to check out in the world.
Yeah.
Culture 101.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, let's go back to music.
Okay.
Who would you say inspires your performance? So I know, like, as an artist, it's easy to listen to a song and help and have them inspire your um, songwriting, but the
Mm-hmm.
performance aspect, do you have any artists that you look at and you're just like, there's just something about how they take the stage with such confidence, like David Bowie or Elton John? And there's just something about, their character on stage that lights you up. Do you have any artists that maybe aren't in your genre that you look up to as more performers than songwriters?
Yeah. Again, kind of Elvis Presley, of course. He was a very good performer. Yeah, I don't know. Out of people that I've seen, I guess more recently, if you've heard of the band called Said the Whale, it's a Canadian band. I saw them live, and yeah, like they're very inspiring too. And I think that, yeah, again, it's kind of just goes back to seeing a live performance. It just makes me feel like, oh, I just want to be up there. And yeah, they're really good. I don't know. They just seem so comfortable, I guess, that it's like, I wish I could have that.
Oh, interesting. I find that so cool to watch artists that are super confident on stage. And I always love to ask artists the questions like, what are you actually feeling when you're on stage? And
Hmm.
the question or the answer often, I don't know if I've ever, maybe there's a few small percentage of artists I've spoken with that don't get nervous before they go on stage. But I would say 99% of artists get nervous and feel not good enough or feel like they're going to be a complete wreck before they get on stage. Do you have similar kind of feelings before you get on stage? Like, how do you push through that fear of taking the stage and taking ownership of yourself as a performer?
Yeah, I definitely get nervous, that's for sure. But I just kind of try to take deep breaths and remember that, just remember why I want to do it and how good it'll feel once I've done it. And remember that whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And, as long as I've prepared as good as I could, I can kind of have the confidence in that.
Yeah, and I think that's well said. It's as long as you know that you've done all you can
Mm-hmm.
in that moment, then
Yeah.
that's all there is to it, right? Just go
Yeah.
out and just be you. What is
Yeah.
your favorite part of being a musician?
I think kind of the ability to express yourself through music.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really big part of it. And connecting with other people through music, and even just being able to sing or play songs that you love by other artists. Because I'm sure there's lots of people out there who don't have the ability to do that and wish that they could.
Yeah, that's very
But
true. It is something cool about covering a song and kind of turning it into your own voice.
mm-hmm.
What
Yeah,
would you say the hardest part of being a musician
probably for me, just not being so critical, I guess, on myself.
and
I'm
that's
just,
a very normal feeling, I think, for creatives. I find
yeah,
just feeling like, oh, I'm not doing it good enough, or I could do it better. Let's just do it one more time, and then we'll see what happens. And
yeah,
cycle, right?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. How do you work through that challenge of being hard on yourself? Do you have any tools or tips that you use?
Um, I think I kind of have gotten more okay with just pushing myself, and even if I maybe feel like it's not perfect, I'm like, okay, well, just put it out there. And because
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people out there that they're gonna feel like it's way better than you might think it is, kind of a thing. So yeah, I guess I've just gotten myself into more of that mindset of just push yourself and just get it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you just said that, putting yourself in somebody else's shoes on how they would view you. And I always love that idea of, how would you talk to a child? Would you talk to a
Yeah.
child like you're talking to yourself? And if the answer is no, then you should probably change how you're talking to yourself.
Yeah.
You should probably, and that goes to criticism as well, right? Like when a kid draws a picture and it's not perfect, but you say, that's amazing. You did a great job because you tried.
Yeah.
I think just taking that approach more towards ourselves, just in general, when we're doing new projects, when we're working hard on something, it's like, just remind yourself, I'm doing a good job.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. Cool. Well, I would love to hear you play if you're ready to sing for us.
Sure. Okay, well, I'll get organized here.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Do what you gotta do. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
I've just got my
put a curtain up.
yeah. Just got my keyboard right here. So
Oh, nice.
I was testing it out earlier, so hopefully it's not too loud, not too quiet.
And I love that you play piano.
So the first one I'm going to do is called Like a Fantasy. And yeah, it's one of my originals. And yeah, we'll just get started.
Sounds great.
Okay. Thoughts flood my mind. All I can think about is loving you. 'Cause looking in your eyes, always know you'll be there when I want to hide. And on my own, I feel lost and so alone. But here with you, life feels like a fantasy. When we're together, time feels as though it's standing still. In your arms, I could spend a lifetime with no time to kill. And on my own, I feel lost and so alone. But here with you, life feels like a fantasy. On my own, I feel lost and so alone. But here with you, life feels like a fantasy. Thoughts flood my mind. All I can think about is loving you.
Beautiful. You got a beautiful voice, and honestly, I can hear that song in like a Broadway or a Disney movie or just like it or movie and like a soundtrack. It was just very fairy tale-y. Like I just felt like I left this space for a moment and was in a movie.
Thank you. Definitely
Yeah.
nerves coming in, but
What's that?
definitely feeling a little nervous and shaky, more than I thought
Oh,
I would.
I get it. I get it. Let's talk about nerves. Because I think when we talk about it, they shrink a little bit. When
Yeah,
we get real with the fear, all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's not so scary, you know?
yeah,
And I love talking about it when it's like actually happening because I know that feel like I get nervous all the time. And it's like, if I just say it, if I shake it off, if I feel it, if I move it, like moving through nerves just feels very empowering. When you're done, it, you know that feeling when you're done a show
yeah.
and you get off stage and you're like, oh, I did it. And now you're not nervous and you just feel really proud and empowered. And it's just like, I always like to focus on that moment, just knowing that that moment is coming. It's like the light at the end of the tunnel. And you know, like as you move through this, um, you'll find that tunnel or you'll find that light. What are some ways when you're nervous that you kind of navigate through the nerves and push through? Do you have any tools that you like to use?
Well, I guess again, it's kind of just take like before I start singing or playing, taking a good couple deep breaths and slow deep breaths, and when it's during the song, I feel like I just try to remember like it's almost like I forget my technique and everything at the beginning, and then gotta just try to clear your mind and bring it back, I guess.
Totally. I mean, there's that feeling like for anyone watching that doesn't know about nerves when you're trying to play an instrument and perform, it's the weirdest feeling because your body just starts like shaking and convulsing, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then your legs start shaking. I've had shows sometimes where my leg is just like doing this. And I'm like, I don't know why my leg is shaking
Yeah.
so much, but I just know, or like when I'm doing interviews, sometimes I remember years ago, just when I wasn't so familiar with doing them, and I remember my leg was just like I thought my leg was gonna run away on me. Like, I don't know, and you can't even focus on what you're doing because it's like your leg just feels like it's leaving you, and then all
Yeah.
you can focus on is keeping your leg on your body. Um, Plenty of experience feeling those moments, and it's real. And I think when we talk about it, it just reminds people that we're not alone in
Yeah.
feeling that, right? And then and just making normalizing nerves, normalizing stress, normalizing all the things that we don't talk about very often. Because also I would like to just say like it's very vulnerable to even be able to say, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
good thing to say. And I think when we get real with it, it connects you to people in this beautiful, authentic way that just faking it and pretending all is well when you're like dying inside.
Yeah.
It kind of brings you back to life. I hope.
Yeah. I think, and it's nice to hear you say that. How many artists do you hear from that do get nervous? Because
Oh my
I guess,
goodness! And then I will also note that playing to a computer screen is the weirdest thing. Like,
yeah.
I remember when we first started doing live streams, you couldn't hear people clapping or listening, or you don't know if they're paying attention, or you see some hearts come up and then you get distracted by the lights and the
Yeah.
comments and all these things that you're not used to. When you're performing, you're used to connecting, right? You're used to like
Yeah.
having people kind of in that space with you. So it's just a totally different way of performing. It's a different kind of nerve, I would say,
Yeah.
on
Totally.
a live stream than it is being on a stage. Just like I don't know if you find this, but I find it more nerve wracking personally performing in front of a small group of people than I do performing in front of thousands of people. Like,
Yeah. I would
it's
probably
very
say that
weird.
too.
It's very weird, but I think because it's more vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I
I
get that way in front of like just even being in front of a crowd talking too. It's like I almost in like a small group of people, I'm less likely to kind of speak up. In a large group of people, I get kind of more rowdy.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So interesting. The way our brains are programmed just blows me away.
Yeah.
I just find it very interesting. Something else I really like to do is kind of just have like an alter ego. Like for me, having pink hair, honestly, that's like, I say this all the time, but that's like my superpower. It's just,
Yeah.
hey, got my pink hair, so I'm good to go. Do you have anything like that, like an alter ego that you kind of click into, or like a different name that you're like, okay, like I know Beyonce has her like Stasha Fierce thing, and she
Oh.
like taps into that before she goes on stage.
I
And
don't
if
know
you
if I
don't,
really think.
totally fine.
Yeah. I just, yeah, I don't really think I do.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Yeah, that's something to think about, I guess.
Totally. I always love just sharing tips and tools on the show because um, there's just so many things that we can learn from so many different people, and just
Yeah.
hearing so many different stories on how people move through nerves and fear. It's a real thing. Like everybody's got it, and we all just are moving through it together in our own ways. And it's
Yeah.
like that. What is that hashtag? Alone together.
Yeah.
That's the nerves.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I would love to hear another song.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So next one I'll do is called Dreams. And yeah, again, it's just another one that I wrote. I actually wrote this one probably quite a few years ago, and just recently I kind of retweaked the lyrics because I didn't feel like they totally worked. So
Cool.
yeah. Okay. In my dreams, I see a different version of me. Strong and courageous, unafraid of what other people think. And when I look into the mirror, it's like someone else is staring back at me. 'Cause I'm happy with who I see. Though it isn't real, I wish that it could be. And in my dreams I am a drunk, spilling truth to everyone, expressing myself at any cost. And it feels great not to feel lost in my everyday bottled up thoughts. All standards are gone and I take chances. Though it isn't real, I wish that it could be. Though it isn't real, I wish that it could be real.
I love that one too. You've
You.
got such this mystical voice. Like it just transcends me out of the present and
Oh, thank you.
magical space of story. Like I could just really see a movie behind that one as well.
Thank you. I really like to hear that.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I really like that. And just even the message in that song is something that I think everybody can relate to, just wanting to be just a little braver or just a little, not care so much. And I think
Yeah.
we live in such a society where, what people think is so often put out there as like what we need to think about, but really, who cares? Who cares what people think, right?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, are you happy? Are you having fun? And that's really all, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely that song. It mirrors kind of something that I've always struggled with, and yeah, kind of just wanting to be able to just kind of be out there and have more of a backbone, I guess.
Yeah, well, isn't that beautiful that you can put that into a song and let that song be your backbone?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's so good. It's been so nice chatting with you. I just love talking about, this vulnerability and fear and all that kind of stuff because it's such a real thing. And thank you for sharing your openness and real thoughts because it's real. And you're
Yeah.
human and I'm human and we all feel this stuff. And I just really love normalizing the idea of being afraid or being nervous or having those overwhelming feelings that come up. Totally normal, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, no, it's been a good talk.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate it. We got some pop culture in there. We got some real emotion in there. We covered it all.
Yep.
It's been so great having you on the show. I always like to wrap these up with asking the question, if you had one message to share with the world, what would it be?
Um, I think if you want other people to believe in you, you have to believe in yourself.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Huge
I think that, yeah, the world's kind of, a lot of people nowadays just have that sort of confidence problem. And definitely I know I do. So
one.
it's hard to believe in yourself sometimes. And I think that that's just something you always need to remember.
It is. You know what? If you don't love yourself, it starts with you.
Yeah.
Always, always starts with you. You have to love yourself and you have to believe in yourself because that's when magic happens. As soon as you
Yeah.
flip the switch of no, I can't to yes, I can, it's like crazy things can happen. And, you know, I've struggled my whole life not feeling good enough, not feeling confident enough, afraid of using my voice because I'm scared that it's, going to be wrong or not good enough or not smart enough or, all those things that the
Yeah.
fear based thoughts, right? And it's just, I find the more we put ourselves out there into the world and get uncomfortable with not feeling good enough, and doing it anyways, running through the fire of that voice, it's like it puts the fire out, it shrinks the voice, it quiets that
Yeah.
nasty monster that like sits on the corner and tells you crazy lies because you are good enough, you are enough, and you are so worthy of having that backbone and putting yourself out there. It's just I'm really proud of you, and I'm
Thank you.
happy to have heard your music and a little bit more of your story. It's been great getting to know a fellow Albertan, and I hope our paths cross again very soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Crystal. This has been awesome.
Oh, good. Well, it's been great having you on, and we'll connect again soon.
Okay, sounds great.